Thanks for joining us for Season 8 of the Hospitality Hangout, a hospitality-focused podcast where the founders at Branded Strategic share their insights and bring technology and innovation leaders that are making things happen in the industry we love. My name is Jimmy Frischling, otherwise known as the Finance Guy. I'd like to introduce my partner, Mr. Michael Schatzberg, also known as the Restaurant Guy.
And thanks for that kind and warm introduction, Jimmy. And to all those listening, feel free to call me Shatsy. Together, we are the personalities behind Branded Strategic Hospitality. We work at the intersection of hospitality, technology, innovation, and capital. And Jimmy, before we get into it, because we got a great show jam-packed with lots of exciting things. Jam-packed show. But I got to tell you, we're going on the road again, Jimbo. So I hope you didn't unpack. I hope you didn't unpack because we're going. And you know
why bother unpacking?
I don't even know. I know you don't really. I take care of the travel plans when we go away. I am like, Jimmy one time traveled by himself. He ended up in the wrong city. I take care of Jimmy's travel plans. I got to say, Jimmy, Napa Valley. We will be drinking some wine. We are headed to Mertech Executive Summit, Napa Valley, and we are excited to drink some wine, listen to some pitches, and talk to our fellow operators and have a great time out there. So super excited about that. But we had a great show, Jimmy. You want to talk about who we got?
Yes, I do. And Shats, as we talk about Mertech, though, going forward, let's start with we're going to be networking, working hard, digging into some interesting operators. And by the way, every now and then we'll grab a glass of vino. Let's not lead with the wine. Let's lead with the work. All right, let's inverse that.
Right.
All right, we'll work on it.
What I meant to say, we are going to be working hard in Mertech and Napa Valley. Working hard.
That's right. There we go. All right. Work hard, play hard. All right, everyone. Listen, we are very excited for today's episode. Our guest today is our friend, our partner, Mr. Mani Kulasooriya. He's the co-founder and CEO of Cut+Dry. But before we get started, we're going to do something a little different today. We usually save our segments till the end. We're adding a little new segment right here, right now, and it's not lost on me that I think I complained enough. Got a few people to write in, and our producer, Julie, gave me the new segment. So thank you, Julie. So being that our podcast is being released on Tuesdays, we're now introducing Trivia Tuesday. For all you people out there, Taco Tuesdays, lay off, okay? You don't own everything with the word Tuesday. This is Trivia Tuesday. Each week, we'll share a fun trivia question about our guests. But here's the catch. You have to tune in at the end to find out the episode to find out the answer. So here we go. Mani, true or false? Your first job in the U.S. was working illegally at the Barn in New Orleans. First job, working in the U.S. illegally at the Barn.
There's got to be a good story behind that. So I can't wait to hear it. So hey, listen. Don't know the answer yet. You got to stay tuned till the end of the podcast.
Stay tuned.
You got to listen for another 3.5 to 4 hours before we find out the answer.
I promise to keep it under 3-4 hours. All right. As I like to say, LFG, let's get into it. Mani, why don't you take the lead? Please give us a little background about yourself and, of course, your best elevator pitch on Cut+Dry.
All right, guys. Thanks, Jimmy. Thanks, Shatsy, for having me on this. I've been trying through the last 100 episodes to get in. What took you guys so long? Well, you'll tell me.
We were saving the best for number 104. Saving the best for 104.
So I'll start with Cut+Dry. The one-liner is that Cut+Dry is digitizing the food service supply chain. Okay, so what does that really mean? If you look at the food service supply chain, that starts with a producer or a manufacturer and ends with an operator. It's probably one of the most inefficient supply chains across all industries, and there's a reason for that, and I'll kind of dig into that a little bit more. But what we are effectively doing is increasing the efficiency through that entire supply chain. So it matters for restaurants, it matters for distributors, and it matters for manufacturers. So not just any single customer. Or said another way, we are creating an entirely new ecosystem. Which is hard to do, but we feel like that is what is necessary to kind of fix the supply chain. A little bit about me. I've been working in tech for about 20 years, over 20 years. Started in consumer internet and fintech before the word fintech was even coined. Then moved into the food service side of the
By the
business.
way, I just want to let a little tidbit, a little fun note. Do you know that Jimmy coined that phrase, fintech?
Fintech.
Yeah, that was Jimmy's idea. Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people don't know that.
Including Jimmy. Including me.
You got Monty's totally caught by surprise. He's like, I had no idea Jimmy coined that. Oh, yeah. Jimmy actually gets a royalty every time you use the word fintech. Jimmy gets a couple of dollars out of it, a couple of cents. I don't know what he gets.
I also wrote "Happy Birthday," the song "Happy Birthday." That's mine. Sorry, Mani.
I've been in and out of fintech, big company, Citibank, and then small company, my first startup. But now I'm fully in food service. This is my third startup. How did we get here? I'll just be very brief. Our last company, Cake, got acquired by Sysco. Sysco is the largest distributor in the food service industry. We saw how incredibly ancient the Sysco business was run. So we spent 4 years modernizing Sysco. And with that, we learned the industry from, call it the inside the belly of the beast. And that led us to starting Cut+Dry.
That is awesome.
Schatzberg, before you jump in, remember how we said an elevator pitch from Mani? I want to be clear. He did it, but it was a really tall building. It was a really slow elevator. But
yeah. Oh, but he's here all week, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, Mani, listen. Before we take a deeper dive, because there's a lot more into Cut+Dry that we want to get into. But I mean, we got to take a deeper dive into what makes Mani tick. How does Mani get to sitting with us on a podcast?
He lost the bet.
That's what we want to know.
He lost the bet.
Right now, he's like, I have no idea, and I hope I never do this again.
Who booked you on this show?
But you worked at some really big name companies, such as Citigroup, a company called Yahoo. You mentioned Sysco Foods we're talking about, which is the largest food distributor in the world. And so you have a really deep background in finance, in technology, and in food service. So give us a little bit of your background and how that led you to Cut+Dry. Keep it under a minute, Mani, under a minute.
All right, Shatsi. So I say that, all founders, start a company based on some experience that they've had, positive or negative, right? So at Citigroup, I realized how difficult it was for immigrants to do consumer funds transfers across borders. I started a company called Cross Funds. That was my first startup. And the intention was to make it cost effective for immigrants to send money back home. That led to an acquisition where I ended up with Yahoo, running a payments company there called PayDirect. Then I realized how Yahoo is able to effectively do advertising for online to online transactions, but couldn't do it for online to offline transactions, which led us to building Cake. The primary purpose behind the cloud POS, and I believe we were the first cloud POS in the hospitality industry before the likes of Toast came along.
A long time ago. That was like 40 years ago, right, Mani? What year was that?
40 years ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
And that led us to Sysco, and then we saw the inefficiency in Sysco, and that led us to Cut+Dry.
So long before Toast, there was Cake. Interesting.
Somehow everybody figured out how to name it after a food.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah. We're all stunned by that, right? Everyone's we're all like, wait a minute. There's toast and there's cake.
There's toast, there's cake. I was trying to think of other foods that we can name the next cloud-based point of sale could be named after. All right, listen, Mani, a big part of Brandon's investment thesis is that we love working and supporting and getting behind companies that are solving, real and true operational challenges and problems, not just companies that are respectfully in search of a problem or an opportunity or a challenge. You got to we want to find the companies that help operators. Can you share with us the big problem that Cut+Dry is solving for?
For sure. This is actually the piece about Cut+Dry that makes me most excited about, although it is probably the geekiest part of what we do. If you look at the food service supply chain today, it almost looks like a relay race of analog, unstructured data that is being passed from silo to silo to silo. There's no structure into the data. There's no digitization to the data. It's not machine readable, and nobody can see up and down the supply chain. That creates a situation where 70% of the cost of the product that the restaurant is buying is supply chain cost, which I don't think is true. If that was true in electronics, then you're going to pay $4,000 for that iPhone, right? The other problem is that about 30% of the product that enters the supply chain perishes within the supply chain. It simply gets thrown out, right?
That's a big problem right there, Mani.
It's a big problem right there. So that's to fix that, you got to fix the data piece first. And then, incentivize the different participants to come, function on the platform. This is where we started. We now have the largest structured database in the industry. And we have
wait. Can you repeat that, Mani, for our listeners? I think I just heard something. Jimmy didn't pick up on this. I picked up on it.
Jimmy, did you hear what he just said? Shatz is about to get excited. Here it comes.
With over 650,000 products, we have the largest structured database in the industry.
Is that breaking news?
There it is.
Breaking news?
That's your unbreaking news. Breaking news.
Okay, well, that's big. That's big stuff, though. I mean, that's big stuff.
Yes. So that's the geeky underlying piece. But the big problem that we're solving, Jimmy, to your question, is can have significant benefits to the food service ecosystem, but also to humanity in general, because 30% food getting thrown out is it has environmental and even social consequences.
So let's just go back to the data, because I know Jimmy gets crazy when you start talking about data. That is his thing. It's Jimmy Data Frischling. I don't call him Jimmy Data for nothing. Okay? And listen, talk about the role that data, because a lot of people don't. When you think about food distribution, you don't really think about data. But talk about the role that data plays between the operators, the distributors, and the manufacturers. Because I'm as an operator, and we buy food in our restaurants every day. I don't think about data at all.
That's exactly right. And I think to succeed in what we're doing, we can't have operators, distributors, and manufacturers thinking about the data either. What we need to do is we need to do the heavy lifting with the data and then give them applications that makes their lives easier, make their businesses run better. I'm
glad you said that, Mani, because the last thing I want to think about is data.
Exactly. So leave that up to us geeks. And good. I'll give you 3 examples for the 3 different constituents, how this benefits them. So restaurants generally order the same products, continuously with, maybe 7 to 8 different suppliers over and over again. However, you also want new menu items. And in today's supply chain world, you're always looking for substitutes because items are often not available. How do you do that today? You call a bunch of sales guys from different distributors and you kind of, go through this like nightmarish process and then get the wrong product and then go correct it. You can fix all of that if you have the right data and an application that allows you to find that product real time, have confidence that it's the right product because it is, fully attributed, and make the purchase. That's what you get to do if you're a restaurant using the Cut+Dry app. Any restaurant anywhere in the US can use the Cut+Dry app to order whatever they want from whoever they want. Another example, for the distributor. So most distributors are going to get the orders that they need to deliver to their customers tomorrow by the 8 p.m. cutoff today. So they effectively have 7 to 8 hours to fulfill those orders, get it in the truck and get it out. That's an incredibly hard forecasting job. And this is one of the things that actually drives the inefficiencies in the industry because this goes all the way up the supply chain. Having data gives that distributor the ability on the Cut+Dry platform to be able to say, here are the kinds of products that I need to be able to ready to go out. In fact, we can tell the distributor what the restaurant is about to order from you before the restaurant is ordering from you because we collect that historical data. Right? Again, it's data driven, but really what we're providing is an application, right? And for manufacturers, forget about it. There is today no connection between manufacturers and end operators unless you're a really, really large chain, right? Again, putting the data on a digital platform creates that connectivity.
I'm sticking with this theme because I think the word of the day here on this episode of the podcast,
Jimmy Data.
Jimmy Data. Now, listen, one of our favorite hangout phrases, and Shatzy kind of alluded to it already, is that operators didn't open restaurants to become data miners. Okay, they just didn't. So it's understandable that these owners and these operators, these chefs out there might just put up a wall to using an amazing platform like Cut+Dry. They're just set in their ways. They've done it. They want to do it the way they've always done it. So we all know owners who may think if it isn't broken, don't fix it. What can you share with these individuals who, let's say, are a little bit reluctant or not embracing, let's say, change, not apt for change right now? What do you say to them?
Yeah, so we learned this painfully in our last company at Cake, and I would say to a large extent, big public companies like Toast and DoorDash have also learned this, where you can have the best product in the world, but you still need to do a lot of work to go get the operator convinced to kind of change their user behavior, right? And that's expensive. We have acquired over 6,000 restaurants in the last 12 months, averaging about 500 every month, and we don't have a sales team. Right? We don't have anybody directly talking to the restaurant operator. The restaurant operator finds us primarily through their distributor. The product is completely free. It's super easy to use. If you know how to use WhatsApp or Messenger, then you can use cut and dry. It's immediately valuable. The use case for the restaurant is not about the data. It's more about if I am today calling 8 suppliers, doing 2 online orders and sending 3 texts, I can do all of that inside of a single app, just as easy as messaging my buddy. So it's the ease of use. So we're very much focused on, and it's completely free for the restaurant.
Hey, Shatz, we have to ask Mani how he makes money giving away for free. Volume, baby, volume.
Volume.
Yeah,
we'll
listen, you know
scale.
what, Jimmy? Volume makes many problems go away, as you know. If you sell enough things at zero, somehow, some way, something good happens, right, Jimmy?
Yeah, that's true. So we hope.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. So, Mani, what's the difference between creating a single product versus changing the entire ecosystem? I mean, making a product that does scheduling or does inventory is one thing, but you're making a product that you want to change the entire food chain ordering ecosystem. That's a big deal.
Yeah. So the first difference between building a product versus entire ecosystem, it's 10x harder. So at the very least. And it's very unlikely that we are going to succeed in changing the entire ecosystem on our own. In our vision is to be the catalyst.
Maybe we shouldn't be telling anybody that, Mani. I mean, maybe I think maybe we shouldn't say that. Can we cut that out, Jimmy?
No, don't cut it out. Don't cut it out.
Okay. We'll leave you. We're leaving.
Yeah.
We're leaving.
Leave it in.
Hear me out, because I think we can be
I'm going to listen. I'm going to listen because I don't like what I'm hearing so far.
Yeah, I think we can be the catalyst that changes the entire ecosystem. Here's the example that I'll use. Right?
Okay.
So, before Tesla came along and made electric cars so popular, all the big guys, if they even did an electric car, they were dabbling in some, clunky project somewhere, right? So the way Tesla changed the ecosystem is not by building the best electric car, but also building the entire infrastructure behind that electric car, right? So, and that allowed the entire auto industry to kind of realize that electric cars may actually be the future. And now you see all the big guys stepping in and doing that also. I feel we're going to do exactly the same thing. We want to create a catalyst of a better food service supply chain, more efficient, less costly, right? I don't expect the large, distributors to join our platform initially, but at some point, we would catalyze them to change the way they run their business to make it more efficient.
So is it fair to say that Cut and Dry is the Tesla of the food service industry?
Let's do it.
Wow.
Jimmy, that's breaking news. That's breaking news.
That is breaking news. And I have to tell you, I know that Elon Musk is a longtime listener, never called in. And then Elon
never called in, a long time
never called
listener.
in. But if you got a long-time listener, if you have any money left after your Twitter acquisition, give us a call. We've got the Twitter. We've got the Tesla of the supply procurement side of the industry. It's very exciting.
Elon, I know you're listening because we know you listen because we have the data to prove it. Just call us.
All right, thanks, Elon.
Here's a quick side note. Elon's in the restaurant business too. Did you guys know this?
Yes, he's creating a new restaurant concept for the cars, the whole drive in your electric car.
Every single Tesla supercharger station is going to have maybe not a Tesla branded, but an Elon run restaurant specifically.
I think they're calling it Musk Burger, if I'm not mistaken.
Musk anything.
Here we go. All right. That was my fault for bringing Elon's name up. I'm bringing us back. Listen, before we move on, I would love to hear your thoughts on what it's currently like operating a startup in Silicon Valley. Since the rise of the Valley, there's this notion that you had, that if you had a tech startup, you wouldn't be able to succeed if you didn't host or move your business to Silicon Valley. So what's it like now? What, if anything, has changed? And what's maybe stayed the same?
Yes, I live in Silicon Valley. I've been here for the last 20 years, and I've been in and out of big companies and startups. This is where my network is. But I'll tell you that the last 3 years have made an amazing change to how Silicon Valley operates. I believe that the stronghold that Silicon Valley had around the tech industry in general is diminishing, and it's diminishing fast, right? My own organization, my own team, we had 20 engineers in the Bay Area. They're now spread across the country. Right? This, however, is going to benefit the entire world, because now you have all the Silicon Valley concept being recreated all over the world, and you don't have to be in Silicon Valley to start the next company. In fact, a lot of the new companies that are being founded right now are not here. The one thing that Silicon Valley still has is there's a concentration of capital here. This is where all the VC money is, or a majority still. But I believe as the ecosystem now gets spread out through the world, the capital is also going to become more and more available across the world. So not great for Silicon Valley, but great for the rest of the world.
And Mani, let me ask you something else about Silicon Valley. How's the weather out there?
The weather's fantastic, and probably one of the only reasons you want to stick around here. That's one of the.
Well, Jimmy and I are always thinking about where we could or should move to, and I just think the way you're talking, it sounds pleasurable.
It is a nice place. You guys were talking about going to Napa for Murtec. Well,
is that right there?
Any weekend. It's right there.
So we can pop over there?
Come over.
All right.
Lunch at Mani's house.
All right. Lunch at Mani's. Gonna get a Mani burger.
All right, listen, I want to move along into our talking back. While Schatz and I started this podcast, because we enjoy talking to people, we also learned along the way.
When we say we, mean Jimmy.
We say we mean, what are we, French? All of a sudden we mean me.
We.
We also learned along the way that sometimes our guests have questions for us. So let's kick off talking back. We offer our guests the opportunity to ask us a question. Mani, nothing's off the table. The microphone is yours.
But try and keep it clean, Mani. It's a family show.
All right, you guys ready?
Ready.
So, so much like you guys have been working together, I've known each other forever. Jim, my co-founder, and I have been working together since 2002. And while we work very well together, we've had plenty of situations where we, vehemently disagree. Can you guys give us a good story on when the two of you vehemently disagreed and how that ended up?
I gotta tell you, if I could jump in, I'll tell you, it's so easy to work with Jimmy. You just agree. You just agree. Just always agree with Jimbo, and everything else is magic.
I gotta tell you, Mani, Schatzy is so right. He's so right.
Just agree, and everything's magic.
Actually, to be clear, I actually do like healthy tension. I like differing opinions, so I enjoy good banter and whatnot. Schatzy said there's suggested that the way he avoids conflict is just to agree with me. I'll certainly accept that as his answer, but let me tell you a different one. Let me tell you a different story. And I want to be. I'm going to tell the story, and I'll try to make it really quick. But I want to be clear.
That's impossible, Jim. You had a quick story since 1978.
I told short stories in 1978 up at Brant Lake, and it all went downhill for me since then. No, Schatzy is a truly authentic person. I really mean that, and he's one of the really most, I think. He's played nice in the sandbox of this industry for so long. I joke that there's 6 degrees of separation from Kevin Bacon, and in this industry there's 2 degrees of separation from Schatzy. And now that I've said some nice things, now let me tell you where our tension and where our moment came in. Schatzy and I, we are out and about on the road a lot. We're constantly in meetings, and we used to, and still somewhat, use our own restaurants as places where we meet. Schatzy at his core is a restaurant guy. And if a guest walks in and there's no host at the station, he will jump up from that table, and make sure that someone greets that guest. If he sees a napkin fall from the bar and land on the floor and he sees it, he will jump up from the table. If a light bulb goes out, if a table is someone's waving their hand and no one's gone over, he'll go over. Now, all of that sounds amazing, unless you're sitting in a meeting in your own restaurant and maybe your prospective investor or otherwise is in the midst of a meaningful moment and is about to be asking a question or at a climax of his point, and Schatzy, boom, darts away from the table. And
where the hell did that guy go?
And the conversation stops, and it was like, what did I say? What was that? And I have to explain, Schatzy really is a restaurant guy. He's getting up. He's going to go. And what I finally had to say to Schatzy is, F the restaurants. Like, we're in the middle of this big meeting. Let the guests wait a second. Let the napkin stay a second. Let the light bulb be out for a second. But Schatzy's like, hey man, that's me. And
just in time, baby. You know that, man.
Just in time. Restaurant guys are just in time. So what I try to do is make sure that we limit the number of these, we'll call it mega meetings, at least in our own joints. Because if we're sitting at someone else's restaurant, Shatsy's not going to get up from the table when a guest comes in someone else's joint and waits for a minute. He'll note it. He'll note it's not great, but he's just not going to leave the table. So anyway, just wanted to share that very authentic, but how authentic he is about being that restaurant guy has disrupted a fair number of meetings. That's been a big issue we've jumped into. So there you have it.
But Jimmy, you know what? When I get him at the table, you don't miss a beat. You're talking. You just keep on talking.
Anyway, sorry for the long story.
It's honestly, Mani, to your point, it is, and I was kidding. We do have some healthy disagreements, but that's, I think, one of the reasons why we get along so well. And we've been friends and now business partners for quite a long time, and it's been great. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. If you can have a friendship last a long time and you can be business partners, there's something special there. So wouldn't want to be doing it with anybody else other than Jimmy and Dino.
All right.
Listen, I love the Family Feud. I'm going to change gears a little bit because I may get teary and start crying, and I don't want to do that right now on the podcast. All right. So let's change gears. Let's get into the special new segment. It's the Family Feud, where, you know what, Mani? We ask not just 100 random people. We go out and we poll on LinkedIn over 100 million people on LinkedIn. And we ask them a question on our poll every week, okay? So, Mani, I'm going to ask you to play the food service feud against Jimmy. Are you ready?
Ready.
All right, here we go. So, all right, we asked 400 billion people, what is your favorite gourmet pizza chain? The top 4 answer on the board, go.
Domino's.
Jimmo? It is not on the board. What do you got?
Emmy squared.
Emmy squared. I am sorry, guys. Neither of you had it. We were looking for, by the way, and there's nothing wrong with Domino's. And Emmy square is gourmet. But Domino's, I mean, Mani, it can be gourmet to many different people.
Hey, it's gourmet. By the way, we're not eating lunch at Mani's anymore. If you think Domino's is gourmet.
Are we? Number 4 answer, 1,000 degrees pizza. Number 3 answer, Via 313, our friends over at Savory. Number 2, Blaze Pizza. I think that's LeBron.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the number 1 answer on the board was Mod Pizza.
Mod. Oh, we should have given it a shot. Oh, we had Mod, we had Blaze, we had Via. Oh man, we could have lit those guys up. You're right. All right. That was we both failed. We both failed.
All right, well,
Mani.
listen. Sticking with our trivia Tuesday. All right, because we got the trivia going. Okay, Jimmy. Let's get back to the original, how we started off, and about Mani.
Yeah, so look, at the top of the episode, we asked, true or false, was Mani's first job in the U.S. working illegally at the Barn, a bar in New Orleans. So, Shatsy, care to guess?
Well, I mean, you asked. Obviously, Mani was working illegally at this place in New Orleans.
All right. Well, Mani, give us an answer, my friend.
Yes, it's true.
Now, give us the story, my friend.
Well, I showed up in New Orleans from Sri Lanka. This is the first time I came to the U.S. With $500 in my pocket. I spent it all over the first weekend, I believe. And then I had to get a job because I had no money to do anything, and I wasn't supposed to work. I started working in this college town bar in New Orleans. What's the worst job you could have when you first start working at a bar?
Dishwasher.
I would say back bar, dishwasher, bar back.
I like the bar back, but better than dishwasher. Well, you tell us, what was your job?
Well, supposedly I was dishwashing, but I was also responsible for cleaning the toilets.
Ah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Well, when you say good one, Jimmy, you mean bad one.
Yeah, this is one of those bars that have the trough urinal.
Oh yeah, good one.
And everybody throws their cigarette butts. This is when smoking was okay.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, as big as the trough is, I think a lot of people miss it and they just hit the floor.
That's right. So my job was to go in and clean that. That's where I started. But I worked there the full 3.5 years that I was I lived in New Orleans.
And that was a Tulane bar, right?
It was a Tulane bar. I gotta tell you,
my wife went to Tulane. I got my middle one, Georgie, in Tulane. I was just down there. Let me tell you, they party there. So that must have been one hell of a dirty bar.
I'm checking with my counsel right now the statute of limitations from the IRS regarding your under the table compensation you received at that time. And Mani, I think you're okay.
Yeah, it should be okay.
So no back taxes are owed?
No back taxes.
All right, Mani. It was a fun time. I'll tell you that.
All right, listen. You know what? You've come a long way from cleaning toilets to now running Cut and Dry. You've come a long way in Silicon Valley, that's for sure. All right, listen, Mani, Branded Quickfire is regarded as probably the greatest segment in all podcast history. This is just not me. This is science talking now. I'm going to ask you 5 lightning round questions. First thing comes to your mind. Are you ready?
Ready. Let's do it.
If you would have dinner with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be?
2 people, one dead, one alive. Steve Jobs and Elizabeth Holmes. And all 3 of us are going to wear black turtlenecks. And I want to see how these guys are different.
Well, I'll tell you. There's definitely a difference between Elizabeth Holmes and Steve Jobs. Because I saw that movie. Was it Theranos?
Theranos, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they have anything, but I think Apple's still doing pretty good. But anyway, great answer. Okay. Where are you getting dinner from tonight, Mani?
A local restaurant called The Pub, which is in the town that I live in, Woodside.
What's your favorite food city in the world?
New Orleans.
Probably the barn. Where's your favorite place to travel?
So I'm a Japanophile. I was a full-fledged Japanophile at one point. I am not that much anymore, but I love going to Japan. It's such a unique culture in many different ways.
Haven't been, gotta get there. I think Jimmy spent some time there, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah.
If you were to challenge Jimmy Rye to a game of Battleship, you remember Battleship, right?
Yeah.
Who do you have better odds of beating? C6, miss.
Oh, sure, Jimmy.
Whoa, really?
I'll tell you.
Really? Wow.
I'll tell you why.
Yeah, I'm dying to hear it.
If you're gonna fight someone, are you gonna fight the big guy or the crazy guy?
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
So who's the crazy? So I'm the crazy guy?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna fight the crazy guy. I'll fight the big guy.
Hey, I think it's a compliment. I'm the crazy guy.
You know what?
Guy.
I respect his answer. I didn't even chime in. I thought that was so obvious going to be he was going to pick on you, but I respect the answer. You going after the big guy. All right. By the way, if you're going to come for the king, you better not miss. Better not miss.
We're going to bring up next time you're in town, Mani. I'm bringing out the Battleship. I got it at home. I got the original at home. I'm bringing it in, and we're going to check that out.
I assume just the understanding of Schatz is under his ADD. There was no way Schatz had the patience to play this game. But I don't want to shame
Jimmy. What did you just say?
Exactly. There you go, Mani. Listen, thank you so much for joining us today on the podcast and sharing your great insights with us. We appreciate your hard work and really everything that you and your team at Cut and Dry are doing for the industry. If you want to get in touch with Mani directly, you can email the podcast team, podcast@brandedstrategic.com. We'd be happy to make that introduction for you. To our listeners, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to tune in. We know there are truly thousands, hundreds of thousands of podcasts out there, and we just continue to be amazed how much our subscribers and our viewership just grows and grows.
Real quick, Jimmy, I just want to ask Mani, if people want to learn more about Cut and Dry on any side of the the operator, the distributor, or the manufacturer, where do they go? What's the URL? How do they check it out?
Cutanddry.com. Spelled just like that.
Spell it just like it sounds.
I was thinking a lot more complicated, but that's pretty easy. I like it.
Spell it like it sounds.
Cutanddry.com.
Cutanddry.com.
Go check it out on any side of that. If you're a manufacturer, if you're an operator, or you're a distributor, check out cutanddry.com, because I got to tell you something. It is one incredibly cool user interface and user experience. I love it.
I like it a lot. And to our listeners, please don't forget to join us next week when we have our guest and our friend, Mr. Andre Venner, partner at Doghouse and Absolute Brands. This guy is a visionary, and I'm telling you, we're going to have a really good time. You don't want to miss it. Listen, this is Jimmy Frischling, your finance guy. Again, with appreciation to our friend and partner, Mani, saying cheers, goodbye, and passing it back to my boy, Shatsy.
This is the restaurant guy, a.k.a. Shatsy. For all those listeners, if anybody happens to be in the Silicon Valley tonight, Mani is cooking up Mani burgers. And just stop on by. He's got plenty of food. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, everyone.
All right, thanks, guys. Cheers.